My dad was half
happening?
Chinese and half Hawaiian, and my mother is Swedish.
Wow.
Like Queen?
Singapore, Colin's wedding.
Sir. Sir, I know you have a meeting. I'll be standing by to take us on a flyby of the island.
That's
If I may,
I'm very
I'd like
aware.
to. I will also be an invaluable addition to our joint mission. I am a quarter Hawaiian. Ho'olalea.
Oh, Captain Ring.
It's ing.
Oh.
It's like ring, but without the R or the I. It's just ing. It's short.
Short's good.
Upside down flag. Symbol of a nation in distress.
The sky is sacred. Shelter over all of us.
Whoa, I can't give you back Hawaii, puppy.
My dad was half Chinese and half Hawaiian, and my mother is Swedish.
Wow.
She's of Swedish descent, and so I am a quarter Hawaiian.
Have you ever seen that film before?
I haven't seen that film, but it feels familiar, and because it is recent and because the theme is whitewashing, I was like, oh my God, immediately I was like, yep, here we are. I see it. It's very, very apparent.
I'm not familiar with the movie, but I'm familiar with the theme. I'm so afraid that this will happen tomorrow. Continuous stealing of native land, indigenous land, and turning it into a military base.
Right away, I was like, that's Emma Stone. I was like, okay, it's giving Scarlett Johansson.
So there's a 1/4 Hawaiian character who's informed about the nuances of the culture.
The movie is Aloha, and it came out in 2015. It is Emma Stone as the main female lead. They're playing Allison Ng. The character is of Hawaiian and Chinese and Swedish descent, but Emma Stone in reality is actually not Hawaiian or of Asian heritage. She is working along a military contractor, Brian Gilchrist, who is played by Bradley Cooper. And he's brought into the scene because he's actually working with a billionaire. Carson Welch is trying to develop a space center in Hawaii and monetize space telecommunication. And so Gilchrist is trying to work a negotiation between the Native Hawaiians. Essentially, he's trying to get them to give over the land so that Carson can build the space center. There are some controversies surrounding this movie that a lot of people were angry that Emma Stone is playing a character who is supposed to be of Hawaiian Chinese descent. Do you think that Emma Stone playing Allison Ng is considered whitewashing?
Emma Stone being cast to play someone who's core Hawaiian and Chinese, generally speaking, okay, you should at least get someone who does represent or is close to that ethnic mixture. Emma Stone is Swedish, whereas the Asian and Pacific Islander part of it, right?
Well, yes, whitewashing is all the racist process that has been used in media and in film, in art in particular, disillusioning that Hollywood can just have gotten a real Hawaiian. And you know how film influences the minds of the people. Kind of an ethical question that I think Hollywood has to embrace, and acknowledging that the indigenous people are still in their living tradition, they're still living. It's high time for Hollywood to be progressive enough and acknowledge that they are still descendants of the people who are victims whose land has been stolen from. So Aloha could have been an opportunity for Hollywood to project that kind of, I would say, reparation or that kind of apology. The story, it's an attempt actually of giving a choice. And the whitewashing there is, the whole film is whitewashing, even though using the indigenous people theme.
You would expect also someone who's mixed to at least show some of that ethnic ambiguity. You just see she's clearly just white. She's just white European. This is harmful because it takes away roles from other deserving Asian American and Pacific Islander actors. It's also just really inaccurate representation. There are mixed folks. There are mixed white and Asian folks who you would never guess that they're Asian. So that is something that does happen, but for purposes of this role, you should have someone who reflects, a little bit of both more accurately.
The narrowest definition of whitewashing in film and television that I can find is eliminating or replacing people of color with white actors. The director's defense, they did want to cast a person who is white appearing because there are a lot of people who are of mixed race in Hawaii who they don't look like they're a Pacific Islander or that they're of Asian descent. And the director purposely chose this route so that when you're looking at this film, it gives a lens to that demographic. So do you think in that sense that the director did well in the casting, or was there another route he probably could have gone with to justify his reasoning?
I mean, if you really wanted to take that route, he should have still picked someone who is mixed, but more white presenting. You know, like don't get someone who's just fully white European, because that doesn't really help.
Do you think that in using Emma Stone, that they prioritize the marketing to make sure that the film would do good?
Oh, there could have been a better way.
This is 100% a PR stunt. That's bold of me to say. It's very much a PR stunt because it's like, hey, let's get a well-known to star in this role, okay, just so that we can like kind of rake in the revenue. But no, from what I've heard, it did not get a lot of revenue.
A total appropriation of the white man and the decision of I'm a director, I'm a god. The male character is already known character. It doesn't have to be Emma. They're actors who may be less known than Emma, and this film could have projected that there is a mixed Hawaiian
actors when they do take on these roles, that they should be more mindful about the roles that they're taking if they don't have the background that is needed for the role that they're playing.
Supposed to be artists are mirrors of history. As artists, you should be responsible of what kind of art you are trying to use yourself. Emma Stone could have suggested that give me another role of whatever I am as non-Hawaiian, and can you find a Hawaiian actor that would help project the story? Summing it up, the whole story is stealing the story of the Hawaiian.
The actors and actresses chosen for the role, they should be more mindful. Like if they're picked for it and they accept the role, right? Study it. Like I know they already have to study the role, study the lines, they do some like method acting, but really study the role, do as much justice as you possibly can, even if you aren't like completely ethnically identifying. There's so much work that has to be done on top of what they already do.
I have been watching you.
They hacked into their minds.
It's everywhere and nowhere.
It's a lie. You had a family. They did not save your life. They stole it.
Are you familiar with the film you just saw?
Girl. Ghost in the Shell, girl. Yes, I remember the exact like outrage on social media when this all went down. Oh my God, this took me back.
No, I didn't see this movie.
This is actually a manga, and prior to the live action, the plot is relatively the same. It's an adaptation, so there is a little bit of remixing and changes. After the manga came out, it turned into an animated movie, and that came out in 1995 in Japan. The storyline goes in 2029 in Japan, they have this program where this company is able to take people's ghosts or their souls and put it into shells or a new robot. And they're doing this, preserve people and kind of have people live forever. But Scarlett Johansson's character in particular is a major in the live action. And then in the manga and the anime, their full name is Major Motoko Kusanagi. And they're part of an assault team, or they're a public service agent who is trying to find the hacker or the ghost who's puppet master who's like corrupting the system. But in the process of her trying to find the puppet master and then learning more about herself, she realizes that she's been lied to about who she is. And now she has to find a new like purpose and meaning into what her life is. But as you mentioned, there are some controversies that came out with it. One of the big one is that Scarlett Johansson is playing the role of Major.
This is totally stealing whole manga story.
In this sense, do you think that Scarlett Johansson did do whitewashing? Is it justified that Scarlett Johansson was casted for the role because she's essentially a cyborg and Cyborg doesn't have a race or ethnicity.
I still stand by the fact that she didn't do any justice to the role. Like, yeah, cyborgs don't have any race or ethnicity, but they're supposed to take on the likeness of someone, the likeness of said race or ethnicity. And she took this away from someone who could have done it more justice. Like, she could have, they could have found like at least like a hapa, like a white and Japanese actress to play the role of Major, or find someone who's like full Japanese and then just do some tricks of makeup to like match the features and do the role.
Scarlett Johansson's character, or Major, is actually Motoko Kusanagi prior to being placed into this robot. This article that I found said they literally replaced an Asian person with a white person and have Major Mira Killian in the live adaptation. In the director's intent wasn't to replace the Asian narrative with a white actor, but it was really a marketing stunt to use Scarlett Johansson's name, as she's been in Marvel and a lot of other action-based films, to make sure that the movie does well. But do you think that the directors, maybe even though it wasn't in their intent, that it was justified for them to use Scarlett Johansson?
I think it's similar to like the first clip with Emma Stone. They're using, Scarlett Johansson's name and like her reputation just to gain more support for the film, to get more, revenue. Again, I think it just backfired because we're all here like, this isn't the anime we grew up with. This is not the manga we grew up with. Stories can have different interpretations. You should still have some sense of accuracy. But also just changing the name entirely, like to like Mira Killian.
Marketing is really capitalism. It did never give justice to the artist. I will not agree. Like, just for marketing purposes, you want to steal, let's just use a Japanese story and transform it into a white story, and you will make money out of it.
To encapsulate Emma Stone in Aloha, Scarlett Johansson, Ghost in the Shell, what do you think are some consequences overall to whitewashing?
When you have, situations like this, it makes it seem like, okay, whitewashing in media is fine. Whitewashing as a cultural practice, which is very strange to say, that's fine. If big media can do it, we can do it in our daily lives. We're very much influenced by media and like how we interact in our daily lives. So it trickles down into like whitewashing in the workplace. So it does have a profound effect outside of media and within.
So they could have just stick to manga story. They could have used Japanese character. It will not threaten the market. It will even give more market because it's true to its form. It's true to its theme. It's true to its story rather than appropriating it.
Again, it prevents people who deserve the roles, who actually fit those, to be in the role.